Crazy weekend, man. It seems like this day and age, everyone, their mother is testing positive for steroids.
It's kind of crazy.
PEDs.
Well, let's be honest.
I think,
they work.
Well, yeah. And I think it's prevalent in the sport. I was trying to think. I'm trying to think how I should put this. Because when I was on, Rogan and I were talking about it, I went, no one thinks it's a little fishy that he gets this exemption and they're just going to test him for 4 weeks. But they told Mark Hunt months ago, be ready because a big name could fight at UFC 200.
Right.
So no one thinks that this wasn't their entire plan all along, which I said, and I took so much shit for it. They're like, no, it was a last second deal. I know, Rogan, I know what went into it, blah, blah. Dude, you're crazy. You're fucking crazy if you don't think this was the plan all along. And then they sell and they're out, right? So
I'm sorry, but what plan? What plan? Like to get Brock a long time ago?
Because if you put up the Brock signal and he's like, well, bro, I'm in the WWE. Like,
I need to train.
Well, no, not even that. I'm in the WWE. I'm doing what the fuck WWE guys do. Mm-hmm. I'm on some shit, man. So we don't have the same commission.
Gotcha.
There's no commission for the WWE. Yeah, they have the safe protocols. Well, that's all bullshit. There's no commission. That's not sanctioned. That's all bullshit. So there's no commission drug testing them, right? There's no state commission governing body that's testing them. So if you're in the WWE, I get it, man. It's rough work. Day in, day not, nonstop. So there's a lot of PED use in that sport. Mm-hmm. Now, if you ask him to fight in the UFC, even if you asked him 6 months ago, his system still wouldn't be cleared. So if you don't think this was the whole plan, and everyone's aware that there's a high probability that he was going to fail these drug tests,
which is okay because he had an exemption, right?
No, it's not okay because his exemption was for the 6 months, but he got tested for the 4 weeks.
I got
you. Are you following this?
Okay, I see what you're saying. I got you. Okay,
so remember the argument was no, he's still getting drug tested. No, you fucking idiots. So let's say right now I'm retired, right? Let's say right now I go, hey man, I'll come back and fight. USADA's gonna say, okay, we're gonna test you for the next, I think 4 to 6 months religiously. Make sure you're not taking shit, then you can fight. He got exempt from that. You get what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
So then he only got tested for those 4 weeks. Before the fight. And they're saying, we didn't know he was going to fight, man. So he's only going to test for 4 weeks. They failed that. And so they go, and it came out, I think they come out today, Ev, with John. It's estrogen blockers, which we already knew. Chael talked about. We've spoke about this. So estrogen blockers, right? And so now with Brock Lesnar, they're saying, oh, he had asthma. It's because of asthma. That's the card they're going to, asthma.
Because asthma makes you super muscular.
Yeah, I've taken asthma.
Asthma medication makes you. Every time you see people say, that kid with the inhaler, how he's like
that kid's jacked. Well, no,
the kid with the inhaler who's insanely jacked.
Most kids with inhalers are. Why
is that guy so muscular? He have asthma.
Oh, that's inhaler, man. God, you're jacked. I know. Thank God this inhaler.
Damn. That's why all those bodybuilders are doing inhalers.
Yeah, it's just. It's crazy.
It's ridiculous.
It's just like if people would just own up to it. If Brock was like, hey man, here's the thing. Yeah. Here's the fucking thing. I'm in the WWE. It's wear and tear on my body. I take some shit there. They put up the Brock Lesnar sign. They need me to save the card. I did it. I get busted. What the fuck you want me to do, man? I did them a favor. I made $12 million.
Right.
All right. See, that's there we are.
Is that how much he made for that?
He made good money. Yeah. So I think the real issue here is. And I tweeted out Mark Hunt's whole argument where he's upset.
It was very interesting,
I sent it to you. I sent that link. Mark Hunt, how he's so upset. He goes, I'm not fighting for the UFC. I want to release from the UFC unless I get half his paycheck.
Right. Because he could have gotten injured, he said.
This is the problem, though. This is the only problem where he kind of screwed himself. Remember, let's rewind 4 weeks ago when Mark Hunt was saying, I know he's on steroids. I'm still going to knock his juice head out. Right. I'm still going to knock his juice gills out or whatever his exact words were. So he kind of acknowledged that what we all assumed Brock was on steroids, he still was going to fight him, right? Mm-hmm. He was like, yeah, he's on juice. Who cares? I'm still going to knock his ass out.
Right.
So now you find out he's on it, and they're like, this is ridiculous.
Right.
And now I'm on Mark Hunt this. You should get paid. You should be compensated.
Yes.
Because I think a lot of parties involved knew Brock was taking shit. Ragdolled Mark Hunt like we've never seen him get. Have you ever seen Mark Hunt get picked up, slammed like that?
That's crazy.
A guy from taking 3.5, 5 years off. What?
Crazy.
It's nuts. So I think Mark Hunt does deserve some sort of compensation. But you can't cry wolf when you knew what was going. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the only thing. It's like, well, you admitted you thought he was on steroids, and now you're crazy crying. Now it's for sure.
Right.
He should be compensated. Take all that out. The people who should be mad are the fans who got honey-dicked. It's the ultimate honey-dicking of all time. Think about it.
Yeah.
Because we were told Brock Lesnar was clean. He's coming back. He's the same as everyone else. He's saving the card. It's all good. All the fans assumed that you were getting a clean product, and you paid $59.99 or $64.99 HD or whatever the hell it is. We assumed that we were getting a clean product. They're the ones being honey-dicked.
You know what's funny?
The fans and at what point are the fans like, dude, this is what the fuck, man?
Well, at one point, I'll tell you what they did. In baseball, you see how unforgiving they were of, say, Barry Bonds, etc. They were just unforgiving. I mean, booing him and screaming at him and all that.
He can't go anywhere.
But with fighting, they seem to be way more forgiving, don't they?
You know why? Because they assume everyone's on it.
Because they assume.
Because so many guys get busted.
You as a young fighter, you came into this league, and you were.
I was surrounded by it.
You were surrounded. And I was going to ask you, like you,
all my
and
team,
you're very, very tight-lipped about all this, and all you guys are. And I understand that.
It's guy code.
But I've had candid conversations with other fighters and with you. You came in when testing wasn't as stringent. And I've heard you say that probably 95%, 90%, and I've heard this figure from other people, that's how high it was for people doing steroids. And so every time it happens, you're just so not surprised. It was that rampant. It's been that widespread.
100%. I think it's it's part
so the minute you get in,
I think all sports are like that, to be honest. But in MMA, it's just so different because you'll be training next to someone who's doing the exact same amount of work than you or less, and they're performing better, or they're more jacked, or they have better cardio. And like, what is going on here, man?
Wow.
So
hard to compete with the next guy.
But it's also combat sports. So if I'm juiced to the gills and I'm ragged on you around, punching you in the face, it's going to have a direct effect on your career and your health.
Or how about in the third round when you start getting tired, he's not tired, your hands come down, he knocks you out. There's so many ways to get injured when you're dealing with a guy who's on drugs.
Take all that out. Pro sports, track and field. It just got announced that Russia's entire government had a doping plan for all the athletes, right? All right, cool. I don't think not that I can remember right now. I think this is the biggest black eye the UFC's ever taken. UFC 200.
You mean with
the biggest black eye
with Brock and with John Jones?
As far as the public, as far as trying to be mainstream, because you sell for $4 billion trying to be mainstream, and your biggest card of the year, which it sold decent. It didn't sell like UFC 100. Don't get it twisted. It just didn't. Your biggest card of the year. You sign a guy from the WWE. You put up the bat signal. He fails a steroid test, which we kind of knew. You're fucking crazy. Those guys, the UFC brass is too smart not to assume that this was a possibility.
Well, they probably assumed he got clean.
No.
In time to pass the test, right?
No chance. No chance.
So they just knew he'd probably fail.
I think so. And then it's like, well, what can you do?
Business.
1.2 million sales.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Who's going to be like, dude, come on, man. So it's just the ultimate honey dicking. It's just the ultimate.
John Jones was the tough one.
John Jones is a tough one.
That was a tough one.
John Jones is a tough one. But again, it's like.
We knew Brock might have been a one and done. Whereas John Jones is supposed to be your champion coming back. You want that belt on him, the invincible John Jones.
He's the only undefeated fighter.
All that stuff.
No one can beat him. And then John fails for estrogen blockers. So then both those guys out for 2 years. You know what I'm saying? So I can't think. I mean, I'm sure some fans will be like, well, what about this one? I can't think in regulation. I can't think of a bigger black guy the UFC's taken in a long time. And again, this as far as guys failing drug tests with the Brock thing, I think so shady and fishy. So shady. So shady is the whole deal. I was suspect from day one. You can go back and listen on Rogan, listen on Fire and Kid. I was like, what are we doing here? Yeah. The guy's obviously on shit. They knew he was going to fight for a while now. They're just bringing back to save the card. It's so shady. Poor Mark Hunt, right? But I can take that. The John Jones thing, it's just.
Do you think that the UFC would be more exciting and even more popular and would have even, would it be more exciting and more profitable if the UFC had no rules and was run like Pride was back in the day?
Well, then
And I guess what I'm
would
really
it be more
asking you-
exciting?
what I'm
Yes.
really- yeah.
Would it be more exciting?
Because guys
Would it
would be faster,
No.
stronger. It wouldn't
the
grow.
sport would not grow.
Okay, because it'd be too
Who would
brutal.
sign their kid up for that?
Right.
Who would aspire to do
Because you have
that?
these behemoths who are just juiced to the gills.
But then so now you're talking about WWE.
That's now you're talking about the WWE.
But then they're not
Only-
really fighting, so there's
Right.
no repercussions. The guys look how you want your superheroes to look.
Right.
So I think these new owners need to go, all right, man. They need to sit down and go, all right.
Treat it like the Olympics.
They just got to decide what they're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I don't have a dog in this fight. They just need to sit down and go, all right, man. Are we headed more towards the Vince McMahon
Model?
which is what they've currently been doing,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of fizzling out because we can't bank on these stars right now? Or do we want to make this thing legit, try and compete with the NBA, NFL, and all that stuff? I think they have to figure out. It is entertainment to a certain point, but it's also competition at its finest, right? Two men fighting.
Yes.
There's nothing.
I love it.
There's nothing more pure than that.
100%.
So I think they need to figure out, and that's the issue they're going to have. Do we keep going down this WWE route, which I think makes it? I think it's such a mistake. I think it makes the sport so cheesy. It's not even funny.
Right.
It's not. Leave that WWE shit in the WWE. That's all fake. Let them have that world. I'm not hating on them. What they do is a tough job, but it's not a sport. It's just not a sport.
Right.
Because Brock Lesnar can go compete in SummerSlam next week, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That's how you know it's not a real sport. What are you talking about? So with the CM Punk thing, you just nix out all those gimmicks. This isn't a circus. It's the most real sport in the world.
It is.
So their challenge is going to be, all right, man. There's so many ways to lose. We don't have any stars. John's out.
So many ways
Brock
to lose.
Lesnar's done. Ronda, we don't hear from anymore. Connor, if he loses one more, that star is fucking faded.
That's going to be interesting.
So then who do you have? And go.
That's right. That's the issue. You have a lot of tough guys. The way, you know how I think as a fan, and taking nothing away, but you then have a whole bunch of real tough guys, and every time they fight, it could go either way. And I don't think that's how tickets. Yeah, that's not as exciting.
You have to have a dominating force.
Right, because what you see is two guys grinding out who are highly skilled and dedicated.
But doesn't boxing go through this? I mean,
I don't know.
And don't get me wrong, UFC is going to be fine. They're going to have their day where they're coming back up. Right now, if it's lows and highs, it's a low right now as far as celebrities, big stars.
I feel like boxing is different in terms of the fact that it's very specific and like it's just punching. It's very fast. It's very it's 12 rounds.
Well,
so.
no shit. I know the difference between boxing.
No,
and
I'm saying, but that
I'm saying as far as stars, you had Floyd Mayweather, who's the biggest pay-per-view draw of all time because he's undefeated. No one beat him.
Manny
Pacquiao. You have
Pacquiao.
Canelo. You have Pacquiao.
Yeah.
You have Triple G, who's coming up.
Yeah, you got
And then
Andre Ward.
You have Wilder.
Yeah.
Ward doesn't fight enough,
Right, he
but he is
doesn't
a
fight
star.
enough. Yeah.
You know, you have
Yeah.
Chocolatito. You have
Yeah.
these guys who are undefeated.
Again, that's a big issue, is that you can, in boxing, have dominant fighters for up to 5 years.
You can in UFC too. Look at John.
You can. He's
been
a
on for
rarity.
6 years.
I just wonder, as these guys get better at striking with these striking coaches, they have teams around them. They can find out where your weaknesses are. The gloves are small. The margin for error is so
You know
much
what's going to
smaller.
have to change?
The gloves?
Nope. The public's perception of what a star is almost. Because if a guy loses a fight in MMA, it's different than if he loses in boxing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because if, trying to think of someone right now. For example, Jose Aldo. If Jose were to lose to whoever next, he's still an amazing fighter. You
Yes.
don't chalk it up as, no, he's done.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like
I do.
we're quick to write guys off, which is insane.
You're right. You're right. I think that's
Do
a
you
good
know what I'm
point.
saying?
I think that's a very good point, that the perception of what a star is has got, well, I don't know, man. I still think it's a challenge. I think trying to change perception is very difficult.
That's going to be insanely difficult. Do you, again, and this is where the new brass and, Dana White's still on board. The Fertittas are the only ones out. This is where the new brass needs to figure it out. Do you hire a publicist and a speaking coach who helps the WWE guys to help the UFC guys?
So, in other words, you're creating some drama behind the scenes.
Well, they just have to get better. So, for example, when Conor gets on the mic and talks shit to Aldo, or Brock Lesnar, Frank, name some, Chael Sonnen, you go through the list of guys who are good on the mic. Well, they've rehearsed those things.
Sure
They're
they
also very good at. They're also personalities.
100%. That's not a bad idea.
Well, in the WWE, a lot of those guys are kind of introverted. They're not the most outgoing guys.
They're scripted.
They're scripted.
Yeah. That's a very interesting idea.
But again, which road do you want to go down?
That's we know
because the Olympics, the NFL's not doing that.
I'll tell you
NBA's
I'll tell
not
you a
doing
third
that.
option. A third option might be to do it 24/7, where you do not 24/7. What's that? Where
Countdowns. I get what you're
yeah,
saying.
where you get into what their lives are. Do a quick hour, a minute and a
That's all they've
half,
been
whatever.
doing, brother.
Yeah.
They've been doing that for years.
Yeah.
For years.
And it's not really.
For years.
You just want
They
you
do it-
want.
There's one.
Like-
There's
like,
one
this is my kid,
there's
I'm
one
trying to
this
send to
weekend.
school.
Did you see it?
I didn't see the.
Nah.
Yeah.
That's all they do, brother.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
Doesn't work.
You got to win.
You need
and have
conflict.
personality.
You need anger and conflict and
Not
all
even
that.
that. You just got to be a star. You know, it's tough.
Yeah.
The it factor.
It's going to be interesting to see if this $4 billion was a smart buy. It's going to be interesting who
great
made
sell,
out.
obviously.
We know that the Fertitta brothers sold at the right time.
Well, Fertitta's their number one passion. Don't get it twisted. Besides casinos, is football.
Oh, it
so
is?
when the Oakland Raiders come to LA, they will have a huge hand in it.
Okay.
So that's their passion is football. They want to be involved in football.
I'm excited about Ed O'Neill.
There he
Ladies and
is.
gentlemen.
There he is.